Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the it's not a Marvel Legends, it's an Hasbro G.I. Joe classified figure. I don't review these very often. You guys ask me to review them quite often, and I just don't collect these. I have reviewed a few, I'll continue to review some here and there, but I wanted to review this one specifically for two reasons. One, it's the kind of thing that's right up my alley. It looks like it could have come out of my action figure line, design-wise, not quality or articulation-wise, but whatever. And also I wanted to show the people who collect only the Marvel stuff from Hasbro what Hasbro makes for other people. Because I don't think you need to have the low standards you have. Anyway, I don't collect G.I. Joe very much, so I worked with Big Bad Toy Store to get a few things that I don't normally review on the review table for you guys. So big thanks to them. There is a link in the description below if you want to check them out. It's the only place I buy collectibles from if I'm not importing. Okay, so this is, what's her name? Agent HELIX. G.I. Joe Agent HELIX. I have no idea anything about the character. I'm not reviewing the character, I'm just reviewing the figure, so you guys can see if it's any good. And for those of you who collect Marvel stuff, you can see how much better it is than the stuff they give you. Okay, let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, before we get into the figure, I'll give you a quick look at my package. It is still a windowless package. I think they're transitioning back to the windows, just like they are for Marvel for G.I. Joe. Hopefully, I hate windowless packaging no matter what it is. You need a window, unless it's like Lego or something like that. But at least they show you the accessories on the front. I guess that's cool. I don't know. There's the figure, artwork that makes the figure look less good. Anytime you're going to include artwork like that, your figure can't live up to it. It's not a good call if you ask me. But there you get to see the figure again. Oh, and they're like, hey, we put paint on it. But they do. Oh man, the G.I. Joe stuff is so much better than the Marvel stuff. It's funny. It's funny. Oh, but hey, there's licensing, and that's why, right? That's the excuse. There's licensing. I guess Marvel Select and everyone else doesn't have licensing, only Hasbro. Hasbro has the worst licensing negotiators ever. Alright, let's get our guns out. Okay. And now we can go ahead and get on with the review. This figure stands with her legs not dangling out of the way like crazy. We'll talk about that. About 15 centimeters, not counting her hair. And that's going to make her just about 6 inches. Roughly 6 inches. I think that's a good size for a female-y at this scale. And for those of you curious, hey, that looks like it could match your action figure line that you're working on if you'll ever get it done. Yes, it could. Here's one of my earlier prototypes. Obviously very early, but scaling is appropriate. He's kind of not got his legs straight, and he is appropriately bigger than her. So yeah, scaling between these two lines would be not a problem at all. I had another prototype at some point that I just completely lost. It's funny because I made it out of clear plastic. Anyway, let's get into this. We'll do a quick comparison with Darwin so you get an idea. All right. She's a little bit shorter, that's reasonable, and here she is up against a McFarlane figure. He's a lot bigger because he's a different scale. Now keep in mind, this figure's like 25 bucks, I think. Maybe it's 26, something like that. Same price as your basic Marvel Legends figure. This guy cost 26 bucks. He came with 2 extra hands. That's it. Reused body parts, no paint. And that's not uncommon for Hasbro. So just keep in mind how much more you're getting for your money with this figure if you are a Marvel collector. Hold Hasbro accountable. Licensing doesn't account for that much, guys. It doesn't. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetic. Lots of paint on this figure. Not a whole bunch, but certainly enough. Let's just look at her shirt first. The yellow is molded. I think everywhere. There could be a spot or two where it's painted, but it looks molded to me, and it doesn't look as good as it could because it's yellow PVC, so it's kind of transparent just a little bit. It looks a little bit weird, but there's lots of gray paint going on around there to make it actually look like her outfit. And you can see the detailed paintwork that they mentioned on the box, not just the blue part, but the stripes, the gray line work everywhere. They have gray joints in there to make it look a little bit better. I'm not sure it helped too much, but it's not bad. Paintwork down the forearm is not bad either. Again, lots more line work throughout. They put a lot more effort into these figures, guys. There's already more paint on this figure than most Marvel Legends. The belt is a floating belt, not covered in detail, but the main pieces that need to be painted are in fact painted. Even this little half piece down here that's not fully showing, they painted it. It looks nice. Pants are fairly basic. They do have detailed sculpt work in there though, so that's good. Holsters are separate, so no paint needed there. A little bit of paint throughout the lower legs just to bring them to life. Knee pads are painted, not just a different color plastic. Yeah, they did a solid job. Is it the best thing in the world? No, of course not. But it's definitely better than what we see from Hasbro in other places. Let's look at the face. I have to say the sculpt work on the face is really nice. The hair, it's hard to say because of the weird paint job. That one black strand of hair looks really goofy, if you ask me. So it's kind of throwing it off, but the hair sculpt seems to be good otherwise. It's weird that for the molding process, they chose to run it right down the middle, the seam. That's kind of weird. I'm assuming they had no choice, but I know Hasbro likes to make bad decisions when they do have a choice, so it's hard to say. Sculpt work seems nice. There is shading, though, is the point. There is shading in the hair, a little bit of extra paint. It's not great, but it's there. But then the face itself, look at that. G.I. Joe doesn't have these weird, hyper-realistic faces. Marvel does. Make that make sense. Her body is hyper-realistic, relatively speaking. Very nice looking face. Hasbro does it the other way. Their bodies all look like Gumby, and the faces all look like they tried to make them look realistic. This styling is great. The paint job on the eyes and mouth, it's so nice. It's so much better than what you see in 95% of Marvel Legends. Yeah, aesthetically speaking, this figure looks really good. Really, really good. Even the way they did the straps on the chest, it kind of like, this is gonna sound weird, but it's actually like squishing in around the top of her boobs. Like it's done well. Somebody who sculpted this considered the design. They sculpted the details onto the figure that should be there, and they sculpted them reasonably. She is a little tubular and like skinny in the torso, I think, but I think that's partly because of the butterfly joints, so it's a little bit, it's not perfect, but they did do things that you're like, hey, that makes sense, and it looks so much better. Even if you don't notice it right off the bat, it makes the figure look better. So, for 25 bucks, 9 out of 10. This is the kind of stuff that we should expect always. Jada's doing it. Hasbro's even doing it. Why can't Hasbro do it for other lines? All right, let's talk about the accessories. Unfortunately, no alternate head, no alternate hands. That's definitely a bummer. You do get this back piece that holds the two swords. That's pretty well done. The swords, they're okay. The yellow paint sucks. Yellow paint always sucks. I guess it probably would have been better to mold them in yellow and then paint the blades, but it's like not the worst thing in the world, so it's whatever. You get a kukri, which is very cool. I'm stealing that design, like it's just a high-tech looking kukri, but it looks nice, well done. You get two guns with the extended mags. I don't know, those are some kind of futuristic gun it looks like. Yeah, but yeah, extended mags with the hole on the front for the muzzle flash or whatever accessory, even though she doesn't come with any. That's cool. And then you do get these two arm blades, like mantis blades from Cyberpunk. Did this character get designed after Cyberpunk came out? I'm curious. Anyway, these look suspiciously like the ones in Cyberpunk, even though they're not exactly the same design. But they're really well done, by the way. All my stuff came pretty darn straight right out of the package. Love that. The joints on here feel solid. They did a decent job with the plastic choice and the assembly, no issue. And I had no issue snapping these on over the arms. I'll do it again for you. It's like I'm reviewing a figure from a different company compared to when I review a Marvel Legends figure. I have no issues with this. If this was Marvel Legends, these would be soft PVC that don't really fit on the figure, and they would actually just be a bubble effect that we've seen 1,000 times. So it's like so much better. Okay, accessory-wise, for 25 bucks, 9 out of 10. I'll say 8 because no alternate hands, and not even a head. I don't care about the head so much, but the hands. But yeah, that's solid. That's a great spread of accessories. Really, really okay with that. All right, let's talk about the articulation. The head feels like a double. I can't tell for sure because there's also a ball peg in the neck. It's not the best range. Hasbro still Hasbro. They're not the best, I don't think, at anything other than maybe quantity, but and having more money than everyone else. But yeah, it's good enough. Also, there's some blush on her cheeks. I don't think I mentioned that. The face here is so much more what it should be for Marvel Legends. That's crazy to me. I know people tell me, review the G.I. Joe stuff, you'll see. I knew technically, but not firsthand. That's exactly how the comic figures should look. It looks so much better. Anyway, double ball pegs in the head and neck. Still not perfectly well executed, but it's good enough. Like, it's okay. It's not bad. I'll take it. Butterfly joint on this figure. It's okay. Again, not particularly great. Hasbro's wonderful at not executing articulation well. Like, it's a butterfly. I still can't bring the arm over at all across the front, even up above the boobages. So, not great. but it's there. So if you want a little bit of adjustment posing, you have it. Ball hinge shoulder works fine, better than horizontal. That's good. Full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow. No pins. I know some of you love that. Some of you don't love that. Okay, so yeah, it works. Good range. Not the ugliest thing in the world. Better looking than a lot of the figures they put out, so I'll take it. And then for the wrists, you do get your swivel. And because they're gun hands and Hasbro finally listened to me, they made it a vertical hinge. So that is good. I like that. This one is also vertical. All right, moving on to the torso. I haven't tried this yet, so let's see what we have. It feels like a double ball peg or a single with some wiggle. Let's see what it does. Ooh, goes back pretty well. A little bit gappy, so we can just kind of adjust it. Decent range going back so far. Going forward, why is that a thing? Why is it like in the last year and a half, something like that, no figures can lean forward properly? That's so weird. All right, going to the side is solid, and of course rotation is fine. Then we have another ball peg at the bottom. That will help. So let's use both. We'll lean it back and lean it back. Yeah, it's still not great. They definitely could work that. Oh, wow. It really can't lean forward. That's the strangest thing to me. I'll show you on my prototype. I don't even know if it'll move right now. It's not actual plastic. It's just weird resins. But you can get so much better range out of joints like this. It's nuts. So very little range side to side also, but you do get your rotation and a floating belt. Stick around. I'll see if I can get this prototype to move at all. And if it does, I'll show you how much better range that could be. Okay, I'm editing this back in because I forgot I told you guys I would show you this. Now remember, this is my very first prototype that I ever made, and it's held together with hopes and dreams. This hip is completely loose. I put too much lube in it and the plastic's cracked. This guy he has a brass pin in his knee. Anyway, it's not a final product at all. It might not even move, but I want to give it a try just to show you, like, these are hard pieces, even though they shouldn't be. If it'll move, it won't move. I broke it. Well, I kind of thought that might happen. It won't move. I'll put a link up there so you guys can see one of these when it's still functional. This guy, I needed to lubricate him before I did that. That was dumb, but whatever. There's a link up there. You can see how much better a torso can be than what Hasbro has done here. Okay. Floating belt. Now here's one of the things, the cardinal sin of action figures. It's almost never a good idea. She has the drop down hips. So when they're in the up position, the balls are out to the side and the hips are pretty wide. I would argue probably just a touch too wide. And then when you drop them down, it brings the hips in and it creates a funny look. Now, of course, you're not going to leave it like that. You're going to pose it, but it doesn't actually add range going out to the side. So her range going out to the side is just that. It sucks. About 45 degrees. Yeah, because that's close to a 90 degree right there. So it's close to 45. So limited range out to the side with crappy drop downs that are not fun. They keep not staying in place and they move back and forth from leg to leg. So it's really, really annoying. Let's see about kicking forward. She can go that far without the drop down, so just about horizontal. If we drop it, she can go a little bit farther. You have to rotate it. So you gained like what, 5 degrees of extra range with a drop down? There's no need for that. Let me show you something. Look at this chunky monkey right here. Look at those fat, chunky thighs. He can kick all the way forward. His knee's not straight, but he can kick all the way forward. And watch this. He can go all the way out to the side without a drop down. And his leg goes back, but of course he has that, so whatever. Those fat thighs without a drop down have better range than, or hips, thighs, whatever, than these do. So it just goes to show, good design is way better than number of articulation points. That's a bit of a bummer. Thigh swivel is gonna thigh swivel, okay. Double jointed knees, ooh, I see pins. I prefer pins. All right, good range, no problem there. Lower legs are just a touch long. Still, Hasbro has a thing for that, I guess. The bottom of the foot should be in line with the top of that hip piece. Proportionally speaking, hers isn't terrible. Well, she doesn't even have heels. Huh, okay. You do get a boot swivel, that's nicely hidden, so that's good. Ankle hinge goes all the way back. That is good. It goes, can we get over there? I can't quite get it over that gap. Over that lip, I mean. Can we do it? I don't know. Maybe you can play around with it and get a little more, but that's it for the foot going forward. Ankle rocker is acceptable. So her articulation isn't exactly astounding. It's better in concept than Marvel Legends, not better really in execution. Still pose well enough. Did you see that? Just from me handling it, her one hip was dropped down again. It's fine. It's not impressive. It could be a lot better. I will give it a standard 7. It's not bad. It's just not anything special at all. Okay, time for the final verdict. I'm going to say this first. The G.I. Joe line has consistently been significantly better than the Marvel Legends line from the same company for price points. It's not just licensing, guys. They love to make that argument because it's the only argument they have. It's not it. Licensing happens here too. Licensing happens all over the place. Street Fighter with Jada, everybody has licensing. And also, with good licensing, you have a product that people want to buy, so you can make it better and sell more. Like, it's not just a detriment to them. They act like it's something they're burdened with. It's not. If they didn't like it, they wouldn't be buying it. Anyway, it's not just licensing, it's a much better product for the same price point, if not lower, coming from the same company. What's the excuse now? This figure's gonna get, for 25 bucks, 8 out of 10. Definitely could have better articulation. That's there. Wouldn't cost them any more. Just make it work better. Better execution, better design. Not more parts, not more anything. It's less complex to make it work better. So there's a problem, but still, 8 out of 10. Really solid release. Happy to show it to you guys if you maybe aren't familiar, and just happy to review something that I feel like is worth my time, even if it's coming from Hasbro. Alright, so there it is, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section below, but that's it for me. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos every day but Wednesday, and thousands, well, normally, not right now, but I'll get back to it soon. And I do have thousands of videos already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.